If you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell-Rappin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. I want to ask you a question today, my friends. Are you focused on being affordable, or are you focused on being unforgettable? Because right now in the marketplace, I am watching people spiral into doubt around their pricing. And as a consequence to that, people are racing to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to their offer and thinking that the lower they go, hopefully, like a wing and a prayer here, hopefully somebody will buy. I'm telling you, if that's you, this episode is custom made for you. I will tell you right now that money is moving hands at a rapid pace because the runway that some customers are experiencing has been shortened. They have held off on decision making until their back's against the wall. They have dilly-dallied, overthinking, and truthfully put their head in the sand. But when that happens, eventually life hits you with a 2x4 and says, move, solve. You cannot stay here. And people are looking for access, speed, and support. And those things come with a price tag. In the marketplace right now, you do not need to be the lowest to win. And truthfully, even at the high end, people are making out just fine. What I know about pricing is this. Pricing is always relative. And that can make it that really hard challenge, because if somebody has said to you price X and it's perfect, gosh, please run the other way from that person, because pricing is not a one size fits all. And that makes it incredibly exciting. And for somebody who's wobbling in the marketplace with their confidence around the number that they want to charge, hard. But you can do hard things. And I want you to remember that the most important thing when it comes to pricing is that it isn't about you. It isn't about you justifying your nervousness, your research, the years and decades of certifications that you've gone through. What matters only is what is happening in the eye of your next client. Okay, did anybody just catch that? I didn't say current client, I said your next client, because that is constantly the barometer and needs to be your focus. For the next buyer who is searching for a solution, they are aware of a problem, they are exploring solutions, and they are prepared to have skin in the game to get there faster because the pressure's on, which means that you need to think about what's it worth for them. That's the only thing that matters. And you do not get to judge. It's not your place. Who can afford you? Your job is to make the offer and let the buyer make the decision. So you need to remember that buyers only pay for one thing: result, outcome, experience. They don't care about the navigation. What they care about is what happens after they've navigated the challenging waters of an unsolved problem. And we need to remember that that result has to be higher and have more meaning than the investment price. That's known as the price equation. Okay, so if the price is going to be higher than what the result is, it's not a very smart money decision. Doesn't mean that people won't spend it, but it doesn't make logical sense. And when it comes to spending money, we always have some element of logic at the equation. So when people are presenting offers right now, I get a lot of questions. Is high ticket still moving? 100% it's moving. So if you're hearing it and not experiencing it, you're in the wrong crowd, because I will tell you, our business is in great health and we sell high ticket prices, high ticket programs, big results to our clients. And our clients have the same lived experience. Because here's why. When someone says to you, ouch, that number's big, it isn't always an objection. It's an observation. It means they're processing that number. And so you should not use your immediately eject button and say, well, let me reduce it. Let me go down the spiral. Please, please, please stop doing that. You need to wait and deal with that time lapse where people are processing and saying, okay, how do you feel about that? Yes, that number is X. Whatever X is, I'm not justifying it, I'm stating it. How does that compare to the result that you will receive? And remember this, that for many of us, we're solving a problem. So we should always look at the monetary difference between the gain and the investment. But if you're not selling against a problem, you're selling against a hope or an aspiration or a lived bucket list luxury item, you are still solving against a problem, which is limited resources. I have money, and my money brain as the buyer is like, what's the best use of it? So if I buy this luxury item you're offering, what other luxury items might I give up? And you have to recognize that there is a value equation where that ROI, the return on investment, is being evaluated by your next buyer. So make sure you are testing in the marketplace and getting really clear on what's the result they want. And one of the exercises we take our clients through is that you should be clear on your result so that you could state it in 10 words or less. Simple language, something that's disruptive, that captures the imaginations and makes people start to move, to start figuring out, is that money, that investment, worth it to me, the buyer? In our business, just to give you context here, we have two ways that we position our business in terms of the market. Number one, we help you commercialize your ideas. Number two, we help you find your next client predictably. And when we state an offer to our clients, sometimes we do get that response, ooh, that's a lot. Sometimes we get, ooh, it's a lot. And it's not as much as I expected it to be. And those are indicators that people are processing what's the gain relative to our investment. And we wait it out, because I'm not here to judge whether you can afford me. I'm not here to judge whether you are ready to make a decision. I am here to invite you to do that. And pricing is always relative in the context of you and your experiences, your gains. And when we present an offer, remember this, there's only two outcomes that happen when we present an offer. You keep your problem, and that has a cost, or you make the investment to solve the problem. And our investment costs X. Am I the only one out there? No. Do I need to be the most affordable out there? No. And if I'm the most expensive, so what? There's a buyer for everything. Second piece of this puzzle is, once you get your head around pricing is about the buyer, the second thing you need to look is check in the mirror. Who do you want to serve, the determined or the desperate? Who do you want to be perceived as in the selling equation? Somebody who's determined to help them solve the problem, or somebody's desperate for a sale? And there are two ways that this shows up. Number one, fully committed, respectful of the gain advantage of time condensing, time collapsing, and solving a problem quickly. An appreciation of the expertise so that fewer icebergs are hit, fewer scrambles over the rock are experienced in the journey. And both the buyer and you should be in the determined journey. Because if somebody doesn't buy, it's not a question of price. is that you weren't clear enough on the value, that weren't fully committed, weren't fully clear on the expertise and the gain to be had. So if it's you delivering it, check yourself. If it's somebody on the other side, they're not ready to make a decision, hold your breath for cooling your porridge and do not talk about money because it's not relevant if they're not prepared to make a decision. The opposite ends of that is resistance, uncertain, an unwillingness to take action. That's the spin cycle of downward travel. And right now I'm watching it in the marketplace. I'm watching the poor get scared, and that's poor business owners, not talking about thriving when we are barely surviving. And I'm here to tell you, it's the company you're keeping. It's not a reflection of the marketplace. So you think about the price from the context of the buyer. You get clear which lane do you want to show up in, the determined or the desperate, and who do you want to serve, the determined or the desperate. I know every day and Sunday twice. I am always looking for those that are determined to solve the problem. I know with confidence I'm determined to support, and I know how to create a repeatable success story. My track record shows that. And people are willing to pay for the fast track, the certainty, and the confidence that comes along with it. And when we first start out the conversation, they borrow that lane. But the third piece of this, if you really want to get out of being that affordable spiral down to the lower pricing and hold your ground, is to set the bar of excellence. Excellence attracts excellence. Mediocrity attracts mediocrity. There's a lot of stuff in the social media arena that talks about what are the expectations of an inexpensive purchase and the expectations of a high-end purchase. Who are you trying to serve? It's relative to the context of what's going on in the buyer's equation. And so you get to choose how much you charge. You get to choose the standard at which you serve. You get to choose to set the expectations through your social, through your marketing, through your content. And you say, meet me here. And one of the coolest ways to do that is by using your own voice. And I mean all the voice, not just the tone, but how you visually show up, how you treat people, the level of care, and it will be reciprocated. Because we as buyers always gravitate towards like. And I had this fascinating experience last week. I was speaking at an event. The mix of entrepreneurs were both Canadian and US based. And there is a whole era that I need to hold on. We call it stuck energy. I need to hold on to my money instead of thinking I can create money. And I sat down with these business owners and they said, this is what our goal is, and we're really struggling to break through. And I said, you don't have clarity in 10 words or less what the result is that you offer. You're throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks, and the marketplace is confused. Confused money never moves. I want to be certain that I'm going to get a result. I want to be certain you're the expert that I can bet on. I want to be certain that you have deep knowledge in solving the exact problem I have, or I'm not getting off my wallet. And as we had this dialogue and the discussion, here's what light bulb went off. I said, who are you trying to serve? What are their experiences right now? They feel stuck. They're waiting for grant money. They're uncertain if they're making the right bet. They're running out of runway. And I said, are you seeing the fact that you're a mirror of exactly who you're creating? And guess what? You sunk the bar. You're not willing to bet on your business, so you're attracting people that aren't willing to bet on you either. That's a choice. And unless you choose something altered, you're going to spin down and go broke on the pathway to building your business. Was it comfortable? No, to hear that. Is it spot on? Yeah, I stand by my opinion. And I said, you guys have to solve this problem. So we had put together a recommendation for them. We had the conversation lead to, tell me what the investment is. And they said, I can't afford anything. I said, you can't afford to keep going if you don't solve this problem. And so we presented a number, and the response was, it's going to be worth that, but we're not ready. I said, what will it take for you to be ready? Are you determined or are you desperate? And this was the uncomfortable truth. I said, the number and the investment don't change because you want to build a $500,000 business. And relative to the return on investment, this is smart money every day, including Sunday. And she said, I know. I agree. And I said, then what's the hesitation? Because I'm not going to change the number, but you tell me how you can afford this. I said, I just don't even have an answer to that. I said, then you haven't committed to solving it. And we left the opportunity to give time to reconcile that. I'm not trying to be the most affordable. I am trying to serve my clients and be unforgettable with the result. And so I want to pull this all together because right now, how you are showing up matters. Are you thinking about the eye of your buyer, obsessing about it? Because that's what it takes. You need to be so intimate that you can spot the pattern, be opportunistic with the pattern, and have certainty that you understand relative to the life they're living what the context is. And you can tap into a conversation about meaning. Because it's not just about value. It is about the attributes of meaning that are associated to that value. And you've got to put a calling card up. You've got to make more offers. You've got to get in front of more people, more ways, more often. And you need to be clear that your path is determined, that you will be here, that you're setting a standard and holding it and recognizing this truth. You are not for everybody. And if you're at the place in your business right now where your next offer makes or breaks your business, you didn't get here overnight. And that desperate air that you're giving off doesn't make you a safe bet. We show you here on Amplify Your Marketing Message how to build an audience of buyers, how to move somebody from curious to paid client. How do we actually make the offer so we're seen as the must hire and not just a likable expert? And we do this predictably so that you have consistent client growth, not just once in a moon, a pink moon, a blue moon, a purple moon, the new moon, the full moon. I want you to have it over every moon. And we do this by getting crystal clear on who we are, how we show up, where we want to play, what makes us win, and we get to work. Your next client is already spending money. And here's the kicker, because I've seen it in my own business and I know it happens to my clients. It happens to you too. You didn't present a pricing problem. You left a gap on the value equation. And somebody turned around who told you you were expensive and hired somebody else for more money. Remember that. Right now, people are spending when the value is there, when the meaning is there, when the access is there, when the support is there. Choose how to win. But don't for a single nanosecond leave this episode thinking the marketplace is at you. It's after you and it's hard out there. Business is business. It's not the same any 2 days of the year. But what is the same is how you play the game. This has been Amplify Your Marketing Message. I am your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. I help you win clients predictably. And we help you commercialize your ideas. And we support you to do the work. We'll see you all on our next episode. That's that's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrappin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.